Mm-hmm.
All right, peace and great blessings, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, please like and subscribe. And today we're talking to someone in the healthcare industry. This is Dr. Pierre Matthews, and we are going to be discussing the coronavirus or COVID-19 and some of the myths and misconceptions and try to get some information clarified about it because there's a lot of misinformation still out there. You know, this pandemic has been going on for a year now. And there's still a lot of misinformation, a lot of fear and anxiety surrounding it. And so we're going to talk to someone who's in the healthcare industry to try to get some of our questions answered and eliminate some of the fear and confusion and misinformation. So, Dr. Matthews, welcome to our listening audience. And can you take a moment to introduce yourself, please?
Okay, yes, ma'am. My name is Dr. Matthews. Um, I am a physical therapist. I'm licensed in the state of Maryland, and I've been practicing since 2015.
Great. Okay. So can you share with us what you know about the virus and how it's transmitted?
Yes, ma'am. The coronavirus, it's spread by droplets. So there's a lot of misconception about droplets versus airborne. So just think of it as if you're in a plane and you're skydiving out, a person versus a feather. So the person that's in the plane that jumps out and they're parachuting down, they are a lot bigger and heavier than a feather. So therefore, they're falling and they're gonna fall faster and not travel as far as the feather, because the feather can be manipulated by, winds and different currents. It could travel a lot further than the droplet. And so when you think of the droplet transformation, think of like a cough or a sneeze.
Right. Okay. Okay. So is that
Mhm.
um that's why they are telling people that they should wear the mask, even, though now a lot of people are starting to take their mask off. So do you suggest that people continue to wear their mask?
Yes, absolutely. Because the way that it works is that uh, once the droplet hits the surface, that droplet is going to live on that surface, and anything that touches that surface is going to stick on and be transmitted. So yes, I would suggest people still wear their mask, but also keep a clean environment. Make sure that if you happen to not have a mask and you sneeze on your sleeve, cover that thing up, because anything that brushes up against it, you're going to have that. And as we know, as we've seen, it travels quickly. So um, that would be my recommendation, is to maintain that mask. Uh, also, I would go as far as to say, like, cover any orifice uh, that can be touched. So if you're rubbing your eyes, or you're touching your nose, or even if your pores are open, cover up, because that uh, any entry is a point for a virus to come in.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now, share with us also, at one point a while ago, you had contracted the virus once, and can you share your experiences with us?
Oh, absolutely.
Contracted the virus.
So yeah, so I contracted the virus around October, which was when my daughter was born. So the thing was, prior to that, uh, my wife and my child, what we were doing was the steam treatment. So eventually, months we fell off and stopped doing it, but while we were doing it, we were good. And so what ended up happening was, when I got the virus, I had like headaches, chills, and everything, but that only lasted maybe about 2 days,
Mhm.
because once I got quarantined, I did this steam treatment, which is I had a pot of water. I put a tablespoon of salt in there, and I put the peel of an orange or a lemon, but you can also use a lime. And I stayed over that pot for 20 minutes, and I did that maybe 2, 3 times a week. And before you know it, less than I would say after on the third day, I felt like there was no symptoms at all.
Oh, okay. So you had a rapid recovery time from it. And so you attribute the recovery to the combination of quarantining as well as the steam treatments?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Can you repeat that, please?
Yes. So you attribute the speedy recovery from it to the steam inhalations?
Yes, and here's why. And mind you, this is my theory. This is what I've done. Um, before you do this, consult your physician. But when I was reading about the virus,
Mhm.
I found out a lot of different things, and I started making connections with the virus and different things to remedy the virus. Other things that were not popularized in the news media. Granted, everything the CDC has put out and everything that you see on the mainstream is accurate, but uh, knowing me and my curiosity, I wanted to take it a step further. So
Mhm.
uh, somebody passed a video of this whole steam treatment,
Mhm.
and they asked me, "Hey, can I try this? And does it work?" So when I started digging, I started looking in like different peer-reviewed medical journals and started kind of like piecing a puzzle together. And what I found, I'll send you the references as well. I can't recall who
Okay.
wrote the journals and such, but I'll send them to you because I have it on the email. But when you look at the coronavirus is part of the SARS family. And there was a research article saying that the SARS, the SARS virus, it cannot stay in certain environments that are high temperature and high humidity. It does not like those environments.
Okay.
So when you look at how the pathology of the coronavirus comes about, when you contract it, it starts in the back of the nasal cavity, and then as the virus replicates, it moves down into the lungs, into the respiratory system. So I said, why is that? And when you look at it, the air that's coming into the nostril and
Mhm.
staying in the back of the nasal cavity, it's an ideal environment. It has an environment that is low temperature and low humidity. So it likes that. So I said, what could you do to change that environment so that therefore it's not comfortable or it can't breathe? Because think about it like this: no matter how strong of a person that as long as they're on land, they can be strong. But if you change their environment and say you submerge them in water for 20 minutes, doesn't matter how strong they are, because humans are not built for that environment. And it's
Yes.
the same that I've noticed with viruses and everything else. It's not it likes a certain environment, and if you take it out of that environment, it's not going to survive long. So when I was looking at this research article, it said that if you can get something with high temperatures, and in the article it said anything over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and high humidity, which I think it was like something like over 80% or something like that, for 15 minutes, it's not gonna survive. So that's when I was like, oh, what can you do to create that environment?
Mhm.
Steam.
Yes.
Steam is, you can only get steam when the water gets to 212 degrees. So boom, that's one thing that
And that
that is
provides that moisture. Yeah. Right.
yeah. And also that moisture creates the humidity.
Right.
the
Absolutely.
humidity. So it's like, oh, okay. If you can create that environment and breathe it through your nose for over 15 minutes,
Mhm.
you're now creating an environment that it doesn't like and doesn't want to be and can't live in. So when you heard on the news, oh, it may go down, the cases may go down in the summertime. Well, that's what they were talking about, the temperature. However, from my research, there's a difference between temperatures and how they're done. Just because it's 100 degrees outside, I question if they were accounting for like clouds, wind, all these other things, shade that can change the temperature. But if you got something that's straight and direct like steam, as long as you got steam, you got something that's well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
hmm
Okay.
So when I saw that article, it was like, oh, okay, cool. So I can see where the steam is going with it. Secondly, um, when you look at the virus, because remember, it's considered a virus because it needs a host to replicate.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It
Absolutely.
needs another living organism to replicate, so that way it can do whatever it needs to do. But the question is, another question I started thinking about was, what is the pH? What kind of environment is it? Does it like does it like acidic? Does it like alkaline? And I was reading this other articles. It likes acidity. It likes acid environments.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Interesting.
you if you change the environment to make it high temperature, high humidity, and alkaline, you got three major uh, environmental changes that it doesn't like. It's not going to live in. It can't replicate in that. So when I started, when before I actually did the steam treatment for myself, this is what was going on in my head, the thought process behind
Mm-hmm.
it.
I'm aware of that. They say disease cannot survive in a body that's alkaline, and that acidic environments actually allow certain illnesses to thrive and to grow stronger when the person's body is more acidic. So that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, because I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Go ahead.
I finished. I thought I said interesting. Yes.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Because when you look at the symptoms of the coronavirus, its main target area is the respiratory system.
Mm-hmm.
And so in severe cases, people develop fluid in the lungs, kind of like a COVID pneumonia,
Yes.
so to say.
Yes.
And so the thing is that the people who have underlying issues of the lungs, the kidneys, the liver, the heart, you know, those individuals can also be affected. But it starts with the lungs, because when you look at the lungs, if you have a lot of fluid going into the lungs, your oxygen carbon dioxide exchange decreases. So therefore, if you're not able to breathe as well and have that oxygen carbon dioxide exchange, you now create an acidic environment in your body for it to thrive. You see what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes.
And so when I was doing the steam treatment, um, even before I got the coronavirus, and then during the coronavirus, when I was doing the steam treatment, anything that was running out my nose or coughing up, I just wiped it off into a napkin. I did not put it back into the pot, but I put it into a napkin and I just let whatever flows out, because when you look at the anatomy, we all got something called mucus,
Mhm.
and mucus is sticky. It catches these toxins in hopes that you would expel it from your body. And
Yeah.
so the thing is that when I was doing this treatment, that's what I was doing, just making sure everything comes out. And when everything came out and I started to breathe clear, boom, I was good. And so it actually kept my family in good standing, because even though I caught it, my wife, my son, and at the time our newborn, because our I caught it while my wife was giving birth to our second child. They did not catch anything.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. So you think you contracted it while I guess while you all are in the hospital doing the visit while she was giving birth?
That's my personal opinion. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that's very interesting that you discuss with us the correlation between acid and alkaline, and how acidic environment allows disease to grow more. That's very fascinating, because that's what a lot of holistic health professionals mention and talk about. The importance of keeping your blood alkaline and keeping your system alkaline. So very good. Okay, so that was very informative.
Yeah. Remember, it's a balance. You can't be too far in either direction, because it's going to.
Right, right. That makes sense. All right. Well, thank you so much for this insight, and especially sharing with us the remedy that you use to help you recover faster. You continue to do the steam inhalations?
Yes, I do. Yes,
You
I
do.
do.
Okay. All right. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing this information with us. I hope and pray that it's informative to our listeners. And we hope and pray to everyone out there, if you know someone that has the COVID 19, or if you know someone that is recovering from it, please share this video and this information with them. And we thank you so much, Dr. Matthews, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, one more thing I would like to say,
Oh,
if you don't
absolutely. Yeah,
mind.
we got time.
Uh,
Yeah, please.
well, so there's a technique that we learned in school called postural drainage. And so if, say, for example, if someone does have that fluid in their lungs,
Mm-hmm.
there are different postures that you can place the person in, so that way you can drain that fluid out. Because, not everybody has access to steam, or not everybody can stand over a pot for 20 minutes. But
Yeah.
if there's people that's bedridden, uh, there's a way that you can position them to help to use gravity and vibration with the clapping. Like you take your hand, you cup it,
Uh-huh.
and you like you beat on the on the walls of the lung, or of
So
course you're
you,
going to feel the ribs first, but
you pet on
you
it
know
or their back.
yeah, on their back, because you just want to focus on the area where the lungs are, so you can reach them
Mhm.
from the front, or you can reach them from the back, or the side, depending on which lobe you choose to focus on. And so that way you can use gravity, and you're going to have the person kind of inverted at an angle, you know
Mhm.
and you're going to just you know not you're not hurting the individual, you're doing
Okay.
it to where it's their comfort level.
Mhm.
And whatever they spit out, or is coming out, have them spit it into a napkin, wipe their nose, or what have you. And that's another way to help get fluids out
Oh, that's an
of
excellent
the lung.
idea. Thank you, because several people that I know that had COVID, they all, most of them had a lot of issues with lungs, or they had pneumonia as well as the coronavirus. And there was a lot of fluid in the lungs, or a lot of mucus being expelled. So that's helpful to know. So you lay the person at an angle, and you put their back and where the lungs are, and just pat it. How many minutes?
I would say textbook wise, like 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
But, you know, as we know, sometimes textbooks and reality are not one and the same. So just go to wherever the patient's tolerance is. If they can only tolerate a couple minutes, that's fine. But if they can tolerate more, then, you know, that's fine as well. But, you know, it's all about getting that angle, building that, getting enough cupping action with the vibration to get that mucus loose. So that way they can cough it and spit it out, or let it run out their nose, or what have you.
Okay.
Because remember, with the coronavirus, it's like a drowning effect. Because once that fluid fills the lungs and you're not able to get that oxygen carbon dioxide exchange, that's when you start going downhill, and that's when it becomes a whole systemic emergency at that point. So if you're able to hold off or prevent that from happening, that's what you want.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. All right. That was helpful. That was a wealth of information. Thank you for sharing with us. And
no problem.
Those of you at home who are watching, please share this video with others, especially people who work in the healthcare industry and others that are affected by this. And also, would the cupping be useful for people who are recovering from the virus, just to help loosen up any residual mucus that might be in their lungs as well? Yeah, so definitely share that with those.
Correct. You know, the only time you don't want to do the cupping is if, like, say if they've been cut, like, you know, they had like a surgery of some sort, and they have wounds that's healing. You know, you don't want to do it over wounds, surgical sites, anything like that. As long as the skin is closed, and the body is healed, then yes, you can do it. Also, if they have any fractured ribs of any sort, then no, don't do that either. But as always, consult with your physician first, you know, before you do anything.
Right. Okay, then.
Yes.
Thank you for that information and that disclaimer. And we are so grateful for you for this information. It's a help a lot of people out there who are taking care of loved ones who are recovering from it, or who have the COVID-19. So this has been very useful and very helpful. And if they have any further questions, we'll send some information below that they can reach out, and if they have, get some questions answered.
Yes, and also I will forward you the email that I used to get the references. So therefore you can see where the information has come from, and kind of, you know, the thought process of how I pieced it together bit by bit. And like I said, this is a theory that I have used for myself and my family, and it has kept us healthy. And you can do this for other things other than the coronavirus. Anytime that you have something that's in your lungs that you need to get cleared out, you know, you can use the same method as well. It's not coronavirus specific only. You see what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for the information, and thank you for sharing your time, your energy with us, and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace and great blessings.